to chat with my friends, chat with each other about this and that. We share ideas, wisdom, and other fun facts. My crafting show is on. It's my time for me. Laughter, tips, and tricks. This is what I need. We're here to have fun. We're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you'll never...
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Good morning out there. Alrighty, I see people from all over the different places. Let's see, we've got people from Maryland. Good morning, Robin. We've got people from Monroe, Georgia. Good morning, Barbara. Awesome. Let's see. Where are our people? Come on now. Oh, we've got Quilting with Harriet. Hello. And there's our friends from Canada. Hello. Good morning. How are you? We've got Marie. We've got Joyce. We've got Rebecca. There's my neighbor from Miami. Good morning. And Lake Ridge, Virginia. Leslie. Good morning. All righty. Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I see you guys are pretty active in the chat here. We've got Lake Ridge, Virginia. We've got San Antonio, Texas. Good morning, Jenny. All righty. Well, guys, you know, we're getting towards the end of the week, and it makes me really excited because we're getting closer and closer to a really fun day that we're going to be doing pretty soon. So today is just hump day, right? We're there. We're inching and inching towards the end to get to that weekend, and we're almost there. So just hang on, guys. We'll be there really soon. Hey, Roz from Australia, thank you for joining. Awesome. Okay, from Michigan, we've got Cindy. Good morning. Central Illinois in the house. Yes, Barb. Awesome. Good morning. Okay, we've got Marge from Texas as well. Alrighty, we've got people from just all over the place. And if you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Nancy with GiftsHQ, and I host these just daily sessions to just talk about anything crafty, right? We are crafters and we love our craft. We love to teach. We love to learn. We love to share tips, tricks, and ideas. And we love to give little gifts. And maybe you have a little Etsy shop, or you have a little craft fair coming up. You want to make a little bit extra cash. Then you can certainly be in the right place, because we like to share all kinds of ideas and tips for you guys. And just jump into the chat and say hello, because we have an awesome community that really embraces everyone. And it's just amazing how we help each other out. I think it's just wonderful. So, okay, let's see here. We've got a packed day today. I can tell you that. I've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to try to really run quickly through all of our stuff. So let me know if I'm going too fast, but I'm trying to get everything in. So let's see. Okay, so first off, before we do anything, let's do our toast, right? So we like to toast in the morning, and I'm gonna pour you a cup just to speed it up for you. And there's your coffee. I'll give you 1 lump or 2. You let me know. I don't know if you're gonna have 1 cup or 2, or maybe you don't want some coffee and you want just something else. Just whatever it is you're having in the morning, go ahead and get it ready, and let's give ourselves a nice little toast in the morning because it's hump day and we're almost there. So I'm gonna grab a little sip. A sip or 2, right? Alrighty. So we've got our drinks. I hope you're in your nice little cozy spot. So let's come on over and get our snacks because we've got to kind of rush through some stuff today. So let's go and grab our little snacks. There's our little truck, and we've got everything on our truck. You guys, you can drink and eat anything. We've got all kinds of snacks, from good ones to bad ones. We've got the cookies, the muffins, the sodas, the coffee, the cupcakes even. We've even got kale and carrots if you want to be good and do a really healthy choice. So everything is on there. It's all virtual. It's all totally free and not 1 calorie. So you can have as much of it as you want. Okay, so now let me go through a couple of announcements that I have. So this Friday is going to be a little bit different than our normal sessions here in the morning, because this Friday we're going to have our 10,000 celebration of reaching 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So we're going to have a big celebration for that, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be our really kind of first big celebration, really. I mean, we've celebrated like first year and things like that, but this is 10,000 subscribers, and it's all thanks to you guys. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm putting a lot of planning into this. Have to tell you guys, Mr. H over there, he's been working pretty hard. Oh. He's been working on some really special designs and graphics and things for you guys, and he just may even deliver some coffee and snacks to you in just kind of a new way. So you may want to make sure that you're here on time for that, or maybe a little bit early, because you know, we're gonna have some special stuff going on, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think you guys will really enjoy it. So that's happening on Friday. Now, in order to participate, we're going to have giveaways on Friday. So in order to participate in the giveaway, you must be subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a thing. It just hit the subscribe button, and that'll allow you to participate in the giveaway and in the chat. And in order to also be eligible for the giveaway, we're going to have a link down below. You probably see it there. You'll have to kind of fill out the form just so we have the information, so we know where to send things to, and it's just makes it a little bit easier. So go ahead and fill out the form. It's an official form that we've created down on the link below. Again, you have to be a subscriber. Only the subscribers will be able to view or participate in the chat. So you want to make sure that you're subscribed, one, but then you also want to make sure you fill out the form so that we have the information, so we know where to send things to and all that in case you win. So make sure you fill out that form, because it is on the link below, and it's a short form. So, you know, just some basic information that we need in order to know where to send things to and things like that. So fill out that form, please. Let's see, what else did I need to tell you? Oh, the prizes. So the majority of the prizes will be US only. However, we will have one prize that is for international as well. because we do have our international folks here, right? We've got our Canada folks, we've got our Australia folks, and analytics tell us, you know, we've got quite a few international, and I don't want to leave them out. I feel really bad leaving them out. So we are going to have a giveaway for international as well. So go ahead and fill out that form also. Let's see, what else did I have in here? Let's see, I think that's everything I wanted to cover for that. Did I miss anything? I think I got everything. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. So that's all that you need to know for Friday. So don't forget, you have from today, starting today, Wednesday, you have to subscribe and fill out that form so you can be part of that giveaway on Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do all kinds of fun things, and you know, we're just going to have a great time. So yeah, Mr. H put the link in the chat for you for the form for the giveaways. Okay, so alrighty, awesome, yay. All right, so let's see. We've got our snacks, we've got our drinks, we're ready to go. What are we doing? If you are tuning in for the first time this week, we are working on Autumn Skies. This is a table runner that measures 28 by 42 inches is the finished size. And this is what we are working on. Now, for this particular design, we are using a stitch and flip method. And we're going to be doing, probably by tomorrow, we're going to be starting to really compare and contrast this design against a paper piecing design that was done with a similar woven star type of item. And we want to compare and contrast it and see which would be the better method for a beginner. And we'll kind of point out different things for that. Now, for today, we're going to start sewing some of this together. So far, we have starched our fabric. Let's see, I have my list here. We've starched our fabric. We read through all of the instructions. We ironed all the pieces. We selected and labeled our items here, and we cut the charm pack using the Stripology mini squared ruler. Now, today, what we're going to be doing is taking everything that we have here. So I've got all my pieces laid out here on my board. And you can see here, let me get the little ruler out of the way. So you can see here, I've got all the pieces here laid out. I did start cutting and got a lot of it done. So this is the charm pack. This is kind of what's left of it. And then here's the little squares. This is the entire charm pack right here, along with these pieces. And then I started cutting into the bigger pieces of fabric. So we still have these to cut. So that I'm kind of cutting as I go so they don't kind of get lost and blown off of my little design board here. So I got everything on here. Now for today's stuff, I'm going to be using a couple of different tools, and I'm going to line things up on my sewing machine and kind of just show you how I kind of prep for that. So before we get into all of the details on all of this, let's go over to our crafting news, because I got two really good stories to share with you. So let's see what we have here. We're going to head over to Craft Meadows Intermediate School in Michigan. And this is a sweet, and we've got a sweet and smart young crafter. And her name is Olive Rouge. And she had an idea. She wanted to start a crochet club so the kids can kind of hang out and learn together and just try something new. So she asked her teacher if it could happen. And within 24 hours, the club was full. Isn't that pretty cool? So with the help of family, friends, and donations, they've got 25 students picked up their hooks, their yarns, and they all got to work. And some of them had never tried crocheting before, But soon they were up and they were stitching away animals, trading patterns, and they were even helping each other out when they got stuck, which that was pretty nice. So the best part, Olive says, is that she learned to crochet from both of her grandmas, and then she became the club's unofficial teacher. So she's even started her own little business called Yarnify by Olive, and she makes adorable little plushies for birthdays and for friends. One student said that crochet is now their favorite hobby, and it all started with just one simple idea and her heart and desire to kind of share that. So I thought that was pretty cool how just one little person, a little girl, you know, is able to kind of change the lives of so many people. And it's doing something that they all are passionate about and they just, you know, have a lot of fun doing. So I thought that was a really sweet story. I've got another one for you that's coming out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They've got a place that's been sparking creativity for 25 amazing years. So the Potter's Obsession, which is a paint your own pottery studio. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary with a fun-filled summer event. And that event's running from August the 7th through August the 10th. So if you're anywhere near the area, you may want to mark your calendars to go there. They're going to have a great celebration with creativity, and they're bringing the whole community along with them. They've got a cozy little studio, and it opened back in 1999. And that's what started with a person by the name of Michelle Klein, who's the founder of this small little dream. And it's become a space where families, artists, and first-timers come to relax, enjoy, and just enjoy the magic of making something by hand. So that's a lot of fun. They're celebrating a big milestone. They're throwing a 4-day party with 25-cent mugs. They're going to have door prizes, giveaways, sweet treats for everyone. And it's just their way of saying thank you to the community for supporting them for so many years. Michelle says it's not just a studio, it's a creative home, one that's welcomed with birthday parties, team building events, school groups, and anyone looking for a little hands-on joy. So I thought that's pretty cool. And there were two sweet little stories that, you know, all start off with just one person having a little dream or, you know, wanting to do something that they love. And it just kind of brings others together and you can get to create and make things together. So I thought those were two beautiful stories. I wanted to share those with you guys. Okay, so let me put this over to the side and grab my notes here. Okay, so let's see, where do we start? We've got lots to cover here. And today, now that we've gotten all of our pieces cut out, and I'll bring this board over. We've gotten all our pieces cut out and we're ready to go. I've cut out enough for what we're doing today. I'm going to continue to cut some more tonight, and then I'll get into my other fabrics here. I did use, again, the Stripology ruler that we saw yesterday. So we did use that, and I think it worked out really well. I love how my little 2-inch squares came out so perfect. And then we've had our second fabric that I was able to use on that as well. So worked really well, and I've got everything all lined up for today. Now there's a few things that we need to do. We're going to be doing the stitch and flip method, but the pattern itself will tell you to go ahead and do it the traditional way, the way we all kind of learned the stitch and flip method, which, if you're not sure what that is, it's basically taking a piece of fabric like this 2-inch square and then just basically drawing a line going corner to corner and then having to sew that line, right? We're going to have, let me just grab two pieces and I'll show you here. I'll grab these two. So you basically will take the two squares and put them right sides together, draw your line corner to corner, and then sew just below that line so that you are able to maintain the entire 2-inch shape. So once you've sewn it, you're going to flip it over. It's going to make that half square triangle, but you're going to keep that same 2-inch shape all the way around. Okay, so that is the traditional way of doing that method. However, there is a new little tool that Celia told us about, and we went ahead and got it, and we're going to use that. And I had a little fun with it last night, and I'm just giddy because I just loved how it worked. I thought it was so cool. Okay, so let me put this over to the side here. I'm going to make some space here, and there's a couple of little sample ones that I did. I didn't iron it or anything, but I'll use some sample fabric just to kind of show you guys. So I'm going to grab here 2 little squares. Now these happen to be 2 inches as well. I have like a little basket full of leftover fabrics that I use that are 2-inch squares. So I just grabbed it from there. Now, traditional way, of course, let me just do it with a pencil, right? So traditional way, right sides together. This one doesn't have a right side. It's the same both ways. So just lay it on top. And then, of course, using a ruler, you'll want to take this and you'll want to draw the line corner to corner. And then you would go ahead and you would sew. And we would normally mark it, right? And then we'd sew right underneath the line to be able to maintain that basic shape. That is how we would do it on the traditional method. But we're going to be using this folded corner clipper ruler. And so for that to work, we're going to take I'm going to take 2 scraps as well. Let's see, I'll take this hot pink little fabric and this little red one here. Crazy colors putting together, but it's fine. And then we're going to do right sides together as well. So we're going to bring those together, just line them up. And let's see here. We're going to just take our folded corner clipper ruler and you're going to line it up. And I'll bring this over to the desk cam in just a second so you guys can really see it. But let me show you from the overhead perspective. When you're using this folder clipper ruler, okay, you're going to lay your, in this case, a 2-inch square, right, up on the top. And you're going to see a kind of blunt edge on the top of the ruler. And then we'll have the diagonal going across. We are lining up our square against this blunt edge on the top. It's a very small little edge. It's just a 1/4 inch there. And you're going to line it up against the edge of the ruler here. But you are also looking at, in this case, it's a 2-inch square. So I'm looking at the 2-inch line here. And I'm making sure that I am lined up against that line. And then it has a tiny little piece here that you're lining up. So you are kind of lining up on all 4 sides underneath the ruler, but it's not the entire side, right? So you only got this 1/4 inch here that you're able to look at. And you've got about, I want to say it's about a 1/4 inch here as well. But you've got the entire side here and the entire side here. So you're basically just lining that whole thing up, making sure it is under your ruler. And it's about right. And that's where you want to be, right? So all you're going to be doing now is, you know, traditional method is for us to draw the line and sew it and then cut it. But with the clipper ruler, what you're going to do at this point is you're just going to line it up, cut it, and then sew it. All right, so traditional method, you would sew and then cut. This one is you cut and then sew. So it's the opposite, which is a little nerve-wracking because when I first did it, it was kind of like, oh, I don't know about this. What if I cut it and it's not right? But trust the process, right? You gotta trust the process. It's so cool how this thing works. So let me head over. I'm gonna bring this out of the way, and then I'm going to put this on the dust cam so you guys can really see what I'm talking about. And what makes me so excited, these little things make me so excited. I'm going to put this to give it a little bit of a, let's see here. That's a little bit closer for you guys. Okay, so there is our 2-inch square. Again, it's right sides together. And I'm going to try to do this here on the sides. It's a little hard for me, but I'll do the best I can to line it up here. My square is not flush. I think there it is. Okay. I am off to the side here, so I'm not looking directly down. It's maybe off just a little bit, but I want to get you guys the general idea. I think that's pretty good. Okay. So again, here is our square. We are lining up on the 2-inch line because this is a 2-inch square. If you're doing a different size, you would line up to whatever size it is that you're doing. Okay. We are also lining up on this 1/4-inch ledge right here. And we are looking at our 1/4-inch ledge on this side as well. So lining up here, lining up here, lining up on the side here, and then lining up on this 1/4. So your entire little square is underneath the ruler, right on those lines. That makes it a perfect cut because the ruler is actually telling you exactly what needs to be cut off. And now as long as you can sew a 1/4-inch seam, you're going to have that perfect stitch and flip square, because this right here is telling you what the 1/4-inch is. So this little line right here represents where you will be sewing. So you're going to sew right on that line and you would have already cut this off. So now the question becomes, can you sew an exact 1/4-inch on this to make this perfect? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you a couple of tips on how you can do that. So let me move this over here to the side a little bit. And I'm going to grab my sewing machine and move this over. Okay. Okay. So a couple things we're going to do just to prep the machine. Oh, Mr. H has, yeah, he does. Mr. H just has me spoiled with kind of all these different camera angles. So I know that you guys can't see it, but we've got front camera, overhead camera, desk camera, sew camera, just in today's show. So we even have other cameras. We've got one for the embroidery machine. We have one for the scan and cut. So we've got like 6, 7 different cameras going on in this little 10 by 10 little craft room. So guys, I know you guys can't see it, but that's how we kind of roll here. We've got all kinds of different camera angles, and I try to bring you guys the best shot that I can. So let's take a look at the sew cam now. So I've got to kind of direct them on which one we're doing, right? So we're going to look at the sew cam because he's like, you drive me crazy with all these different cameras. But yeah, we want to make sure that you can see everything, right? I want to make sure that everybody can see it. Okay, so let's direct them to the sew cam. So here we are. Let me just turn my little light there. Okay, so a couple things that I used. So one thing that you can do, you know you're going to have the perfect cut because you're using this new ruler, right? And it's giving you that perfect cut. You won't have any mistakes on your cutting because as long as you line everything up with that ruler, it's going to come out perfect, okay? We've already used the Stripology ruler to cut out perfect 2-inch squares. Now we're using the clipper ruler, right, to cut out our perfect half square triangle to be able to make this, you know, using the stitch and flip method to be able to make this. Now, the only thing we have left is that 1/4-inch seam. It's got to be perfect in order for this to come out perfect. So we got to prep our machine to get us there. Okay, so I've done a couple things, as you can see here. I've got some sewing tape down, and I also have a little magnetic seam. And I'm going to show you what I use. So I have a Madame Sew seam guide ruler. Okay, and let me just get it out and then I'll show you guys what it is. This, you can get this from Madame Sew's site. It's really low cost, but I've had it for a while. So this is what the box looks like. It's just a seam guide ruler, and this is what it looks like. So it's just a yellow ruler that has a whole bunch of little holes on it. And let me see if I can put something behind it so that maybe you could see it a little better. Let's see how this works. No, it's not too great. Let's see. Let me try a piece of white paper behind it. That might look a little better. We'll fold this in half. Let's see. Can you see this one? Okay. You can somewhat see that here. So it's got all kinds of different measurements in here, starting with 1/8 of an inch, going all the way up. And this will allow you to align your magnetic, your little magnet here, so that you can have that at a 1/4 inch seam. Oh, there we go. Yes, this one right here. Okay, yeah, I'm driving him nuts with the cameras. So the way this works is basically you're going to take your little ruler and you're going to go underneath your presser foot and you're going to line it up at a 1/4 inch. And so this is what, let me just move it over so you can see that. So here's my little 1/4 inch, and you have that little hole there. What I want to do is put my needle inside that hole. So I just slide it underneath where I think the 1/4 inch is, and I try to line it up here. And then what I do is I use my hand wheel on that sewing machine. I know a lot of people don't even touch the hand wheel, but in this case, you're going to want to, because you don't want to break your needle. You want to slowly bring down your needle, and you want to kind of just get it to go inside that hole. Now, it takes a little bit. You kind of want to see what you're doing here. And if you lift up the foot a little bit and you're kind of angled a little bit down, you'll be able to see it. So I did get it to go in. And so it's inside, and it locks that ruler into place. Okay, so that tells me that my needle to the edge of this ruler is exactly a 1/4 inch. And that is my where my 1/4 inch seam guide needs to be. So they give you this little magnetic seam guide, which of course will definitely stick to your machine, right? But you have this issue, right? You want to make sure you're straight. So in order to make sure that I was straight, then I went ahead and I got my little tape. And this is really low cost. You can get this off of Amazon, guys. Everything that I'm showing you, we're putting the links below so that you guys know where to get it. But it's just this little tape here that basically has a red line in the middle, and it's got measurements of a 1/4 inch on both sides. And so that's just telling you exactly where a 1/4 inch is. And so what I did here was I laid down my ruler. I got it to that 1/4 inch line, and then I'll just take my tape and I will line that up and put that down here, so that I have that 1/4 inch line coming all the way down to the edge of my machine. And the tape is, you know, it's very soft. It's like painter's tape. It doesn't leave any sticky residue or anything like that. Now, after a while, it kind of starts to lift off and stuff. And so you just put another piece in, tear it off, put it in there. It's all good. But you line up your ruler here, and then you can bring down your presser foot, and you kind of just look, okay, you want to line up this ruler, and then you're going to take your magnetic seam guide and you're going to bump it up right there. Now, as you can tell, if you look really closely on here, and every machine is a little bit different, the edge of this presser foot is not a 1/4 inch seam. 1/4 inch seam is just a little bit inside that foot. And you can see where that line is, okay? Because that's the edge of the ruler, and that's where your 1/4 inch seam is. Some people just automatically think it's on the edge of their foot, and it's not. Okay, now if you are able to move your needle and scooch it over, then, you know, that may vary. Every machine, like I said, is a little bit different. So you just have to take the time to figure out where is your 1/4 inch and mark that on your machine. Some machines may have some type of a measuring guide here on the table, so that works really nice that you can do that, but a lot of machines don't. So then that's where this little seam guide ruler is really nice, because it'll really allow you to figure out exactly where that is based on the needle position. I like my needle position to be in the middle, so from the needle position being in the middle to the edge of the ruler, that's a 1/4 inch seam. And so I put my little magnetic seam guide there to keep myself at that 1/4 inch. And then all I have to do is lift it. Now that I've marked it and I have my tape down, I can go ahead and lift up my needle. Make sure you get that out, and then take the ruler away, because I've now marked my 1/4 inch exactly from that needle. And I've got my magnetic seam guide here, which is going to allow me to then kind of position, whatever it is that you're sewing, and you want to bump it up to that 1/4 inch, you'll be able to bump your fabric up against that seam guide, and you will get that 1/4 inch finish. Okay, so now let's kind of go back. Now that our machine is prepped, we know where our 1/4 inch is, everything's lined up. So let's go over now to our little piece here. We've got two little fabrics here. Move this over. And we've got to use our trimmer ruler, and I'm going to just use the sample one for right now. And again, we're lining this up. Now I'm left-handed, so my trimmer ruler is going to be facing you guys, which is a little odd, but it's because I'm left-handed. Whatever you're comfortable with. We've got to make 2 cuts, right? You've got to cut here across the diagonal, and then you're going to cut, if you have any excess, you're going to cut where that top little piece is. So I'm going to be using, and I switched over somewhere. I have, I moved my little board, so here we are. I'm going to be using my Quilter Select rotary cutter. This is one of my favorites because it has a little bit of weight to it versus my regular rotary cutter. Doesn't have any weight to it. It does a pretty decent job. This one, I just like the weight of it and how it feels when it's cutting. I'm not a fan of the safety feature of it though, but I do like the way it cuts, and I like the way it feels on my hands, and the fact that you can do it with your left hand or with your right hand. So it makes it very easy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And, whoops, wrong way. There we are. So now I have this lined up here, and let me just double check here, because I see my fabric is off, because I can see the other side. Make sure when you line up your fabric, you are not seeing the fabric that's underneath, and then line it up with the ruler, like we said, all 4 sides. And then once you have that all lined up, and you're comfortable where everything is sitting, then you're ready to make your cut. So we're just gonna hold this down. There we go. And then I'm gonna make my cut here. Actually, I'm gonna move this just a little bit so I can cut. There we are. We'll go ahead and cut that piece off. So that's all that's coming off. And then this now, you're going to notice your triangle now has a little 1/4 inch blunt edge here as well as here. Okay, so now we're able to take that triangle, go to our sewing machine and bump it up against our magnetic seam guide here. And we're just going to line it up right underneath the machine. Here we go. You can bring down our needle, and let me just grab the sewing foot. There we are. And then we're just going to sew that 1/4 inch seam. And as we're doing that, we're just making sure our fabric is nice and bumped up against the seam guide, because that's what's helping us to keep that 1/4 inch straight. Now I'm going to keep my finger on the end here as long as I can to make sure that it stays nice and straight. So let's do that. There we go. All right, and we have, get away all of these threads. If you bump it up here, you see you've got your 1/4 inch. Okay, and so I'm going to take, where's my little snips? I left my snips out. Oh no. There we go. Grab my little snips and take off my tails. To snip those off. And then you just kind of open it up, and let's see if I can finger press this a little bit. You're going to want to do this with your hot iron. And I'm going to put this down here, and I'll continue to kind of finger press it a little bit. I will iron this, but you see here, you've got that perfect 2-inch square. And so that's what that little ruler does, is eliminates you having to draw that line. And, you know, just you drawing the line increases the chance of you being a little inaccurate. So the ruler takes away that little chance of you being inaccurate and really helps you to make this more accurate. So you've got more accurate little 2-inch squares. And so we're going to do that with all of the pieces that the pattern calls for. So let me bring over my little design board here, because I've got it behind the machine here. And I'm going to go ahead and scoot this over and lay this down. There we go. You've got these little triangle pieces that end up getting cut off. You can use this for another project. See that? That could be a whole other project, because you've got a whole bunch of them that kind of get cut up. And just from the cutting from earlier, I keep my little scraps for this particular project. I am not going to throw anything out that belongs to this fabric line while I'm doing this project. It's not until I finish the project that then I can take all of these little bits and pieces and put them somewhere where I could use for a different project. Because look at all of the scraps that I have. This is just from cutting the charm pack. Tons and tons of little scraps. You can definitely make something with that. You also had 2 extra squares, or 3 extra squares from the pack that, I guess, you know, in case you mess one up, you'll have 3 more that you can use. But so far, these are all the scraps that I have for this project. So looking pretty good. I just keep them inside here until we're done. So far, that's what we have. Now, pattern calls for 2-inch squares using this method. Again, I'm not going to use the method that they're using in the pattern. We're going to use the clipper ruler. So I've got right sides together. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. And I'm going to go ahead and line this up. Let me just get it towards me so I can get a nice clean cut. Can you guys still see that? Yeah, okay. Line this up here. Making sure that I am lined up on all four sides. So I'm lined up here, lined up on the bottom, lined up on the side, and lined up on the blunt edge on the top here. So hold this down, grab my little rotary cutter, and I'm going to go ahead and cut. And you can cut here, but I really don't have anything to cut. I think it cut maybe a thread. One little thread is what it cut, but that's fine. And then I'm going to lift this up, holding this together, bring this over to my sewing machine, and we're going to bump that up against that 1/4 inch seam guide. Now, going to go ahead, lower my presser foot, make sure that I think I moved the fabric a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. Line that up here. Got it up against my 1/4 inch seam guide, and I'm ready to go. So holding it down, go ahead. Gotta slow it down. There we go. Cut my threads. I'm going to open this up. And there you go. You know, another great thing is you don't have those little corners to clip off, which is really nice. And so here it is. And you've got your perfect little 2-inch square. Perfect. Just need to iron it. So you do need to iron that. And you've got that nice 1/4 inch going across. So, does the clipper ruler really save you time? I think it does, because you don't have to draw that line. And so that was always one step where I just draw the line on the whole stack. Then I'd go back and then I cut and sew, right? Or sew and then cut. And then on this method, you just have to remember it's the other way around. You're cutting and then you're sewing versus sewing and then cutting. So just trust the ruler. Trust the ruler. You just have to trust it. And it does do its job. Then you have to kind of decide where you want to iron your seam. Of course, if you've got a lighter and a darker fabric, you want to kind of iron the seam to the darker side so it doesn't show. And then I take my little hot iron, and what I'll do is use my little clapper. So I have this little square clapper that you can do once you've ironed it. Then you will go ahead and place the clapper on top, and that will kind of set the seam and keep this nice and flat. It really helps to flatten your seam and keep that in a good position. And then you just kind of continue to go through the rest of the items here. So what you're going to have now is you're going to have other pieces that you need to do the same method with. So you're going to need to take another piece here, and you're going to need to take another 2-inch square that is part of your background fabric. Let me just double check here that the background fabric, right? Yeah, it's the background fabric. And you're going to line it up again with that background piece, right sides together, and you're going to do the same thing using the ruler, right? You're going to line it up, and you're going to go ahead and make the cut. And then once you've made that cut, then you know that you're lining this up corner to corner right here. Can you guys see that? Let me move down a little bit. I've got the board in my way here. There we go. So we're going to line this up here, right sides together. The corner clipper ruler is right on the 2-inch mark. This is what you're going to be cutting off, and you're going to be sewing on that line right there. Okay. So that's how you would do this one. Then you're just going to cut this here, bring it to your sewing machine, and cut that and sew that 1/4 inch seam allowance. And so you've got to do quite a few of those, and that'll be kind of your little block that you're going to use, and you're going to need 4 of them all together to build up to that woven star. So that's how we're going to get our perfect 2-inch corners, 2-inch squares to be lined up using that stitch and flip method. We're also going to have these rectangle pieces lined up perfectly as well. And then once we have all those pieces together, we start building the little block that'll make the woven star, and then we can kind of move to the next step. So guys, we're almost there. This pattern really doesn't have all too much to it. Once you've completed that block for the woven star, then it's just repeating it over and over again. And once you're done with the amount of stars that you need, it's just a matter of assembling it together. And that's just putting them all together with the borders and getting it all pulled in. So it's a pretty quick pattern. Like for you to make a table runner, it is pretty quick. It's just I'm taking the extra time to share with you guys all the little tips and things that I'm doing. I'm trying to make this as accurate as possible, so that you guys can follow along and not get frustrated with the process, right? Use the tools, use the little tips. Not everyone can go out and buy all of these things, but there are different ways that you can do this. Deborah saying, thanks, Nancy. I had that ruler for a while and wasn't sure how to use it. Well, there you go, Deborah. Awesome. So it's a great, great tool. You've got your seam guide ruler, which really helps a lot. You know, some of us, we think we know our machines. We think, oh yeah, that's where the 1/4 inch is. And then you're wondering why your projects are off just a little bit. Use the tools. Get in there, line it up. If you don't have the seam guide ruler, take a regular ruler and line it up. See where your 1/4 inch is. Take the time to really learn your machine and line things up appropriately, because once you do that, you know, you're going to be happy with the results that you get. You're going to see the difference in the time that you're taking to sew these pieces. If you take that little extra time just to make sure that everything's lined up great, you're going to love the results at the end. So, alrighty. Let's see, any other quick questions here? As I know we're running towards the end of time. Celia says, I immediately sewed together the pieces that I cut off with the folded clipper ruler, and I put them in a container. I will have a huge collection of pieces ready to assemble into a scrappy quilt. Exactly, yeah. Do not throw away those pieces, because you can make a really awesome quilt with that. I mean, just the two together that we put here, you can see here you've got a little half square triangle, and how many different designs can you make with a half square triangle? I think there's like a million things you can do with it, right? So don't throw them away, because fabric is expensive, and you know, you can just knock off a whole other project with this, and you can get really creative with this, which is really cool. So don't, you know, just toss them. Put them in a little container, like Celia said. Put them in a container, put them in a little box, put them somewhere. Right now, I'm putting them in the little box until this project is over. And once it's over, I know this is all the scraps that I have that are all made out of this line of fabric. And I can just make a project with just that. Or I can combine it with some other scraps that I have for some other projects and make something even bigger. So we'll have a session on using scrappy fabrics. That's one of the ones I want to plan out and do, and we're going to have fun with that. I mean, I'm going to have a pile of scraps. You guys are just going to have fun with me doing something creative, and we'll do it together. So that'll be pretty cool. Alrighty, I think I got through everything that I wanted. I wanted to do a little bit more sewing, but we'll have more fun with that tomorrow. I really wanted to really emphasize how to prep your machine, making sure that I'm setting you up for success so that you can then just go ahead and sew all of your pieces here. So definitely love that. Okay. Alrighty, so I think we've gotten everything that we wanted to. Let's move over to our inspirational quote of the day, shall we? Alrighty, so today's quote of the day is, when tools are used properly and laid out neatly, the mind follows and creation flows with peaceful purpose. And that's exactly what I wanted to kind of portray to you guys today, making sure that you have the right tools, you lay everything out and organize things nicely, and then that'll allow you to really focus on what the task is, getting it done, and just making that creation come true. I think it's really amazing. Alrighty, guys, we are at the end of our hour, and thank you guys for all of your support. I truly appreciate you guys being with me on my sewing journey. Now, just a reminder again, if you're going to be participating for the 10,000 subscriber giveaway, go ahead and fill out that form. We need that information to be able to have everything that we need to send out all the gifts to you. So thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate all of the love and support that I receive from you guys. And let's go ahead and support other YouTube channels out there as well. There's all kinds of content creators out there, and we just love supporting our crafting world, right? So let's go ahead and give a little love and support to Becky from Power Tools with Thread, who's going to be coming up just any minute now. So go ahead and let's give her a little bit of support. Thank you again for tuning in with me this morning. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.